The arrogance of man is thinking nature is in our control, and not the other way around. Let them fight.
I did not really care for the new Godzilla. I didn't hate it, I didn't even really dislike it, it just didn't do it for me. I see what they were going for, I respect it, I don't really think they got there. Solid third act though, for the most part, but the movie just doesn't hang together for me. So I should probably be a little disappointed to see that it's become, pardon the 9,000th use of this pun, a monster hit, right? After all, the whole argument for film critics paying any attention to box office numbers, apart from it being a sadly necessary part of the landscape in this day and age, is that success frequently determines the course of future films getting made or not getting made. So it stands to reason that a film I didn't much like becoming a point of influence is not good news. Right? Well, actually no. I'm pretty glad to see the movie doing well. In fact, I'm rooting for it to do even better. I hope Godzilla is one of the big movie success stories of the year. Why? Well, because even though I didn't really like it, I respect it. Godzilla is a big studio blockbuster, but it's also very much an auteur project for Gareth Edwards, which is pretty amazing when you consider he only had one low-budget indie film, which I didn't like either, granted, under his belt before they handed him the reins of this fairly huge project. And while I didn't necessarily care for the execution of it, the decision to hold the actual Godzilla action until the last act is the kind of high-aiming decision-making that would not be made by a committee of studio executives looking for the next Transformers. So yeah, I'm glad to see that kind of attitude actually do well with audiences, even if word of mouth suggests I'm not the only person who didn't really think it worked once they actually saw it. A movie made in this particular fashion being a success is a good thing overall. This is one of the complicated things about trying to cover movies in an era where covering the business side of the industry is an increasingly necessary unpleasantness. Like it or not, when you've got films good and bad coming out that are themselves essentially marketing vehicles, you can't not think of the product aspect of this medium, or at least the high-budget American Hollywood studio version thereof. And yeah, you do actually start to root for certain films or filmmakers or types of films to be successful because you understand the effect it's going to have on the rest of the market, or at least the effect it could have. This is, frankly, why I'm just a little bit glad to see The Amazing Spider-Man 2 struggling, at least the mega-budget comic book blockbuster version of struggling, because it represents so much of what's really wrong with this period of movies. The unnecessary reboot, the complete waste of talent, the hacky screenwriting, the fact that it nakedly exists only to maintain control over intellectual property that they clearly have no actual interest in making decent use of. Yeah, I'm a little glad to see something like that maybe turning into this summer's maybe this isn't how we should do this example for the studios to turn against. Couldn't happen to a nicer franchise. Likewise, I think that's why so many critics, journos, and tastemakers, myself included, no lie, continue to be so high on the ongoing Marvel Studios project. Does it feel a little strange, maybe even counterintuitive, to cheer from the sidelines as the whole of Hollywood is dominated by a self-sustaining hype machine made up of cartoonish action movies based on old comic books? Well, maybe, but if we must be ruled by blockbusters, and history suggests we apparently must, at least let them be blockbusters like this. Joyful, bursting with imagination, made for profit, yes, but also made by people who clearly understand and enjoy what they're making, and want the audience to have a good time as well. I mean, sure, Guardians of the Galaxy isn't exactly going to be Fellini, or maybe it will. But there's more energy and originality in just that film's trailers than there is in a lot of other whole films I can name. And I'll certainly take that over the hash that's been made out of, say, Star Trek for one example. So if this Godzilla making a gigantic pile of cash is the encouragement for more big features to at least attempt doing something unique and interesting with all these too often safe assembly line products, I'm all for that. And who knows, maybe one of the big developments that'll come of it is Godzilla 2 actually being a better movie. Wouldn't that be something? I'm Bob, and that's The Big Picture.